Hey there guys, what's going on? Today we're going to be using statistics to work out the Warzone meta. Currently there is a wonderful tool available called wzranked.com, and basically what this allows you to do is check all kinds of useful stats like KD ratios, the top players in the world, win percentages. We can see all of this available here. Top 25 leaderboards, you can see number of games played, wins, 70% win rate is ridiculous. But what this website actually also allows us to do is check the current usage statistics for everything currently usable in Warzone, and I literally mean everything here. We have weapons, attachments, individual perks, equipment, and of course, everything else that you can think of that you can use. Just before we do jump in any further to this website, make sure you hit that subscribe button if you have not already done so. We recently passed 4,000 subscribers, and our goal is of course 10,000 subscribers by the end of the year, which would be absolutely insane. So if you could help me out in getting that at all, I'd massively appreciate it. Anyway, back to the more interesting part of this video here. This section here under the global stats, as we can see, this is the loadout meta. Basically what this does is tell us in real time which weapons people are using and which attachments that they are using on those weapons. Now, this data is uploaded, as you can see here, data is uploaded daily, which is absolutely insane for something like this. We can see here that currently the most used weapon in Warzone right now is, of course, the MAC-10. By a pretty wide margin, actually, 17% to 13.3% is a pretty big gap. That's almost a fifth of users running around in Warzone with the MAC-10. And most likely, if you have been playing the game in the last day or so, you would probably have been killed by the MAC-10 a lot. That is what is going around at the moment. Now, this list doesn't necessarily tell us the whole story here, and you have to keep that in mind, that certain weapons can obviously only be used in specific ways. You can see that the MAC-10 is of course a close range weapon only, but if you do prefer a long range playstyle and you've got a MAC-10, that's probably just straight up not going to work for you. And we can break this down even further in terms of what this actually means in just a second. Looking further at the MAC-10 here, if we do click on the name of the gun that we want to take a look at, basically what we can see here is all the attachments that we have the most used attachment class setups for literally every weapon. This applies to all of the weapons, but currently we are of course looking at the MAC-10. And apparently the most used class setup here is the Task Force Barrel, the Field Agent Grip, the Agency Suppressor, the SAS Combat Stock, and of course the Stanag 53 round drum mag. Now you can see the individual popularity of each particular attachment class setup, and 6% of people running around with the MAC-10, which is of course 17% of all players. That is a very substantial amount of people are using this particular class setup, which is very, very interesting here. And this of course, as I said, applies to literally every single weapon in the game. We can take a look at something like the Kar98K, of course, and this does apply as well. Most of the people use very, very similar class setups, but if you do want to jump in here and check out your favorite gun with a better class setup than what you're using right now, this is usually statistically the best option here. Now again, simply throwing on the attachments on these lists here really don't tell you the whole story. This thing still isn't going to be able to gun people across the map in the case of the MAC-10, so you do have to interpret this information into playstyles and actually use the knowledge that you get here in terms of ways to actually play the game. Moving forward, we can actually do a very similar thing with the secondary weapons here, and of course we can see that the top three at the moment are of course the Diamatti, the RPG-7, which is the Modern Warfare variant, and of course the Renetti. About 30% of people running around in Warzone are using a Diamatti in their class setup, of course, which is absolutely insane. But again, keep it in mind that just copy and pasting whatever you do see here in terms of class setups and stuff like that might not be the best option. It's sort of better to learn what everything does and stuff like that, how things work, rather than just going to say a spreadsheet and being like, this is literally the best option. But if you don't know how to use it, numbers like that and numbers like this. Now again, you can use these numbers and attachment setups to build class setups completely, like you can use this to make your class setup whatever you want it to do. But again, keep it in mind that copy and pasting the best options from each section here might net you pretty decent results, but it's still pretty important to know what each gun, attachment, perk, and equipment setup does before you just plug it in each thing into a class setup here. This tool even shows us the most used perks, which is pretty unbelievable. As we can see here in the perk 1 slot, Double Time is currently the most popular option, followed by EOD. Now of course Double Time does give us the ability to play more aggressively. With our faster sprint speed, it's pretty good. That's pretty good. A lot of the perk options are usually pretty clear cut, and some of them are just straight up unusable, and you will not see anybody using them running around. Ghost, of course, in the perk 2 slot, 55% of people are running around with Ghost, and 41% of people are running around with Overkill. Now, most times people like to find a second loadout drop and grab a class setup with Ghost in it, and then take an Overkill class at the start to get the weapons that they want. And of course, perk 3 is to be expected. Is the best one at the moment is Amped, of course, given that loads of people love to run a pistol class setup or a launcher sidearm in Warzone. And lastly, the thing we can take a look at here, of course, we can look at the equipment. We see that the heartbeat sensor is currently the #1 option, followed by stuns and flashes, which if you've been following the channel for a while, you'll notice that a lot of the stuff that I do recommend on here in most of my class setups is on the most used list. So make sure you do subscribe if you haven't already done so. This is the best information on YouTube right now. Semtexes are of course the big popular grenade choice, and I can see why. Sticking things to people, just creating a little bit of damage, as well as thermite, they do perform similar roles, but the Semtex is just, such a good option in the game right now, of course. Anyway, this fantastic tool gives you a glance at the current Warzone meta, but again, keep in mind that just using tools like this doesn't necessarily give you the whole picture, as I said. It's all well and good to be able to take the best thing in each of these categories, but some of these options really just don't fit together. For example, you'd be able to take flashes and stuns and then run restock as an excellent combination. And then you keep getting more and more, and then you combine that with double time and an SMG, and you got a very aggressive class setup. And that's how some people play the game. It's super powerful, and you can sort of adjust the way you want to play your class setups from here. And you can use these statistics or YouTube channels like mine to sort of gauge what is the best option for most setups here. Anyway guys, hopefully you are able to use this tool to better your class setups, because I know I'll be taking a look through this and adjusting my class setups accordingly, because this is pretty wild here. Thank you very much for watching this one. Of course, make sure you hit that subscribe button if you have not already done so. We are again looking for our next milestone of 5,000 subscribers and then 10,000 by the end of the year, hopefully. So it would be massive if you could help me out. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, as I said, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!